Hey guys, I hope you're ready, because in this video, we're going to be checking out the King of the Monsters as we have a look at NECA Toys, Shin Godzilla. Just before we get some measurements going for Shin Godzilla, I just want to point out the fact that he does come with his tail. Now, this is something that the other Godzillas from NECA always do. When you get them out of packaging, their tails have to be added. There's a little ball joint on the back here. And we can go ahead and attach the tail to the ball joint. And it requires a little bit of pressure, as with most cases when you attach a socket to a ball joint. But it's something that's certainly rewarding once you get everything connected. I mean, simply, NECA couldn't package a figure like this with a tail that long. So, of course, a little bit of assembly is required. All right, so let's get some proper dimensions going, because I know you guys are curious as to how big and how long Shin Godzilla is. So we'll grab the tape measure here. If you count the bottom of his feet to, let's say to his head, he's exactly 6 inches tall. If you take the foot to roughly, let's say the top scale here, you're looking at about 6.5 inches. And if you want to go ahead and go from snout to the tail itself, let's say trying to make it fully extended, you're looking at about 13.5, sorry, you're looking at about 13 inches. Give or take, about 13. Again, a beautiful looking figure. This is a beautiful looking figure. Fine work from the folks over at NECA. Now, it's of a design of Godzilla that I have to truthfully come clean about. It's not one of my favorite looks for Godzilla, but it's warming up to me. Warming up being the operative word, because what you're seeing on Shin here is some glorious looking additional reds and oranges that don't become too apparent and too obvious on other Godzilla releases. So kind of more Godzillas than often than not usually have more blues, lighter, cool colors. Shin Godzilla, on the other hand, has glorious colors of red, orange, a little bit of yellow there on the ball tip of his tail. Primarily his coloring is the black, but then all those little recessed areas, including his face, are spotlighted in that red. It looks great. What it looks to me is like drying lava. Where if you ever watch videos of lava that is coming out of a volcano, where the areas start cooling themselves off, you get these cracked like surfaces where the top of the lava has dried, but then you still got the fiery core or the fire underneath of the lava that's still moving. And very much that is what I get when I look at Shin Godzilla here. He's got some much smaller eyes, much more vicious looking face to, in some cases, fun-loving looking Godzilla that we've gotten in some of the very earliest of Godzilla movies, where he was more lighthearted and whatnot. This Godzilla definitely looks like he means a lot more business. I can't tell you whether he actually makes use of a lot of the same mold as what we've seen with the other Godzilla. Like the leg portion looks like it could be slightly a variation. In fact, most of like the body here looks like it might have made use of not the original Godzilla mold, but initially a Godzilla mold that they might have retooled. So they might have just changed up, like the skin itself is so drastically different, more utilizing those cracks and whatnot, that there might have made use of some existing mold, but obviously did a whole lot of changing to it to get what we get here. Of course, his tail is extremely impressive. I really like the long nature of the tail itself. All those little cracks with the red peeking through is a nice touch. You don't get as much on the bottom side of his tail, which keeps more to just a stark black. There's a few little indications of the red, but most of that red resides from the top area here. Again, there is his face, or head, looks great there, with very, very small eyes. Some of the smallest eyes on a Godzilla. The teeth are very nicely done too, and like the other Godzillas, you can open his mouth up. Now it does actually look like there should have been something that could have attached on the interior of the mouth. They give you just enough clearance that it looks like it slots almost as if something could have been attached, or something could have attached itself to the interior of the mouth. The head sculpt though is quite good. I like the interior there with, basically, if you like red, this is a figure for you. Like the sculpting on the teeth there as well. The interior of the mouth looks so good. He's got very, very small hands also. Most Godzillas tend to have small hands, but Shin seems to have one of the more smaller hands from what I can remember. Very, very tiny, tiny little hands on this guy. He may not necessarily rely mostly on his hands for combat. Most of that would come from his tail, or again, what he's projecting out from his mouth here. Nice detailing there also on the scales, on the fins. Like again, it just looks like cooling lava where you've still got very, very hot embers here, and then the tip portions of the scales have started to cool themselves off. There's what it looks like, not getting the tail in the way here. There's the top area here. Got some really nice coloring sculpt choices there as well that they've made use of. And again, his very, very long tail, which actually from this end of it looks very much like a rattlesnake tail. You would have the rattle on the end there. Well, let's run through his posability. Now again, if you collect NECA Godzilla figures, you're pretty much going to get the same sort here. If you haven't collected any of them, shame on you. Because really what you're missing out is not only on a great sculpt, but tons of posability as well. The head, for example, we've already looked at the fact that his mouth can open and close, but he's got a ball joint here. This may take a fair bit of time. Ball joint here, so that hinges up and down. You got a secondary ball joint here in the neck, where basically the neck connects to the torso. You got a ball joint here, ball joints in the arms. It looks like it's got also a ball joint in the elbow area, because that does hinge back and forth. It may not have been a swivel, but it looks like it does. It is a ball joint, in fact. A universal joint in the wrists, the very, very small hands, does rotate, hinge back and forth. He's got. I'm going to go back to the legs, but he's got a ball joint here, one here, one here, and if you remember, this is where we connected the tail, here, and lastly here. This section here, you can probably see that there's these little holes. That's because the tail is a wire frame, kind of like the alien tails. It doesn't have as much because the sheer thickness of the plastic, the rubber that they used, doesn't really lend itself too much to bending and the bend staying in place, but I do appreciate the fact that they would incorporate that in there. All right, let's go back to the legs here. The legs are ball jointed as well. Ball joint here in the knee, in the lower foot, and then the bottom section here where you have pegs. Not that necessarily the figure needs a stand, because from a standing standpoint, he does stand perfectly fine. I just said stand a lot of times there. A great, great figure. I continue to collect, really continue to collect a lot of NECA stuff, but I continue to collect specifically as well the NECA Godzillas. They've yet to disappoint me. And I have to honestly, again, go back to the point that I made before. Shin Godzilla is not one of my personal favorite designs for Godzilla. The small eyes and the red coloring, I love the red, but he's not... I would almost go back to more an earlier design of Godzilla as my favorite design before I would look at Shin Godzilla. That being said, though, despite my opinions of the design of the creature in the movie, the figure is just beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And again, NECA delivers once again, really defining the fact that they are the king of toy figure making by making the king of the monsters. You see how I segued myself there. Today we were checking out the NECA toys. This was the NECA Toys Godzilla, Shin Godzilla. If you guys like this video, certainly hit it with a like. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel yet, hit that little subscribe button down below. And also be sure to hit that little bell down below and check that off, as that will tell you new videos that are coming onto this channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.